This video is about the king of the north in Daniel chapter 11. The verses that are of great interest in this particular time are verse 31 and onward because they describe something that could happen in the near future in the USA. Verse 31 says, "And arms will stand up, proceeding from him, and they will profane the sanctuary, the fortress, and remove the constant feature." Could these arms proceeding from him mentioned here refer to President Trump and the various federal law enforcement personnel he can deploy across the USA? We have already seen that President Trump is capable of doing this. During 2025, in addition to the National Guard, Trump has ordered the deployment of federal law enforcement officers, including those from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, to cities for law enforcement and immigration enforcement. These officers are sent out as part of joint task forces, often working in full combat gear in cooperation with local police. They are authorized to make arrests and have been involved in immigration raids, arrests of high-profile criminals, and crowd control during protests. Could these actions be a precursor to what Daniel 11 verse 31 predicts? That arms will stand up, proceeding from him, and they will profane the sanctuary, the fortress, and remove the constant feature. Someone might ask what is meant by the sanctuary, the fortress, and the removal of the constant feature in this verse. According to Jehovah's Witnesses theology, the sanctuary represents the spiritual temple or arrangement for worship. The constant feature refers to regular worship and public witnessing. This does not mean literal animal sacrifices, but ongoing worship and witnessing. According to Jehovah's Witnesses theology, verse 31 refers to persecution of their worship in the past. But what if Daniel 11 verse 31 actually refers to a future period of persecution of Jehovah's Witnesses? And what if Donald Trump will initiate this? Why could this happen? Very recently, after the murder of Charlie Kirk, the White House published a presidential memo that identified potential domestic terrorists as those who express anti-Christian, anti-capitalist, and anti-American views. Could our brothers and sisters get into trouble, since we are not pro-American Christian nationalists, but neutral? And could we get into trouble because we are not considered Christians by other Christians? And what if Donald Trump will initiate this? Since President Trump has promoted patriotism through initiatives like the America 250 Task Force and expanded civics education to foster national pride and unity. Promoting national pride is against Jehovah's Witnesses' beliefs. It is interesting to note that Daniel chapter 12 gives us the answer to when the sanctuary and fortress will actually be desecrated and when the regular sacrifice, the constant feature, will be taken away. The verses are about the conclusion. Daniel 12 verses 11 and 12 say, "And from the time that the constant feature has been removed and the disgusting thing that causes desolation has been put in place, there will be 1,290 days. Happy is the one who keeps in expectation and who arrives at the 1,335 days. This time period includes the time period of time, times, and half a time." Verse 6 has an interesting question. How long will it be to the end of these marvelous things? Verse 7 has the answer. It says, "It will be for an appointed time, appointed times, and half a time. As soon as the dashing to pieces of the power of the holy people comes to an end, all these things will come to their finish." We can see that all these Bible verses are actually related. They speak of difficulties for God's worshippers in the final years before the arrival of God's kingdom. So the foretold desecration of the sanctuary and fortress, and the removal of the regular sacrifice, the constant feature, should indeed happen in the future. As Daniel 11:31 predicts, arms, or in other words, forces will be sent from the king and they will do what is foretold. So it would be good to start thinking about this and what more the Bible teaches about the final years before Jesus' second coming. Thank you for watching and see you next time.